Let's talk about the EOS RP. Now, this is not actually the EOS RP, this is just the EOS R, and this is an unnecessarily big lens for the lols. So at this point, I actually haven't yet experienced the EOS RP for myself, so this is just me joining the conversation and sharing what I think so far about the EOS RP. And when I do get my hands on an RP, hopefully not long from now, there will be more refined thoughts in a hands-on video. Now, I really didn't expect the RP to be here this early, because it really just felt like yesterday when the R was announced, but it's here now. Now, the biggest selling point of the RP has to be its price. It's even coined as the cheapest full-frame camera on the market right now. But that's like excluding secondhand 5D Mark IIs. So the RP is $1,300, the R is $2,300, so that is $1,000 cheaper than the EOS R, and the 6D Mark II is $1,500, so it's $200 cheaper than Canon's budget DSLR. So the 6D Mark II was really worth mentioning because it is said that the RP is sharing the same sensor as the 6D Mark II, as opposed to the EOS R sharing the same sensor as the 5D Mark IV. So one would think the R with the... You know what? This is getting annoying. So the R having a higher end sensor than the RP, one would presume that the EOS RP would not have as good image quality as the R, but that's something I would rather confirm when testing these two head to head. It's also said that the RP is very light and very small, but again, I haven't actually held one in the hands yet to really get a feel of how light and small it is, but my opinion on very small and lightweight full-frame mirrorless cameras is, because it is a full-frame sensor, the kind of glass you're going to put on it is not exactly EFS glass. I mean, have you seen the size of the 28-70 f2? Now, there's nothing wrong with making a camera that's very compact and lightweight, but I do appreciate it very much when the designers don't skimp on the grip and design it so it's very nice, big, and comfortable to hold, and I am talking to Sony. Sony makes some great cameras, they're very powerful, and they offer great value for money, but they seriously need to up their game on their grip and their menu system. When looking at the ergonomics of the RP, there's two things that are very noticeably gone, and that is the top LCD display and the touch bar. I'm not even sad that the touch bar is gone. I personally hate the touch bar on the EOS R because when you hold the camera like this, your thumb's basically right over the bar, so 1 minute you're shooting in bright daylight, and next thing you know, your ISO's at 40,000. And the top LCD panel has been replaced with a more traditional mode dial. Now, I actually don't mind a good old traditional mode dial. I just think it's a more direct way of changing modes instead of hitting a button and then scrolling through a digital menu. The classic 4K crop that Canon is famous for is still there, and there's actually worse drawbacks on shooting video, as I've heard on the EOS RP, such as the lack of a 24 FPS frame rate setting when you're shooting in 1080p, even though it is available when you're shooting 4K on the very same camera. And I hear there's also some other limitations when shooting with EFS lenses, so it does seem like video mode on the EOS RP is taking a big hit, which is not good news. Now, although you can say that it is the most budget option of a full-frame camera there is to offer. Now, to an average consumer, $1,300 is not really cheap by any means, but when you compare it within the realm of mirrorless cameras, it's definitely at the bottom of the scale. But from a manufacturing standpoint, I don't imagine these features to rack up the manufacturing costs by any amount. So it's almost like Canon wants to remove this RP, this budget option from their prosumers, and telling them if you want more serious features to do more serious work, then I really suggest you get our more serious cameras. Because at this point, absolutely nobody's going to believe them when they blame it on hardware cost limitations. And although problems like this can very easily be resolved using a software update, we can only be hopeful that Canon actually does that sometime in the future. Other than that, I'm actually quite curious to try out the camera for myself and see if I feel any differently about the camera than I do now, because that was kind of the case with the EOS R. On paper, the R was a pretty boring and disappointing camera, but when I actually went ahead and started shooting with it, I started to really like it. Also, we've still got absolutely no idea what the letters R and P stand for. I kind of wish Canon would actually tell us. P for peasant? So those are my initial thoughts about the EOS RP. I'm actually quite curious what you guys think about the RP at this point. Let me know in this poll, is the RP a yay or a nay for you? So that's pretty much it for today. If you'd like to have more camera gossip like this in the future, do consider subscribing for more videos just like this. That's it for today, everybody. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Do you like the R series cameras a lot, eh? You're not even gonna smell it? He's a Nikon guy.